taking the time to focus on social emotional learning. So it's not all about the academics. It's about, how do you treat other people?
This is Brad Verma here. I'm here at Entrada school, and I wanted to share a few things about this amazing school. One, of course, my daughter goes here, so I'm obviously a big fan of the school. What I like about this school, other than having this brand new facility out here, is that not only are the teachers really excellent, but the programs that they offer within the school is really outstanding. Whether it's academic, music, sports. So they offer really a wide range of things for students to pursue, not just academically, but also in other areas of life as well. So really a great school. I'm going to be interviewing my daughter's teacher. She's right now in 5th grade, and I just had a parent-teacher conference yesterday, and I asked him if he would like to talk for a few minutes a little bit about the school and the class. And so we're going to go inside and talk to him a little bit about that. Hello there, welcome. My name is Brad Verma. I'm here today at Entrada School. I have a very special guest today. His name is Lowell Walker. He is my daughter's teacher in 5th grade, and just an amazing person. I met Mr. Walker just a few months back when my daughter started 5th grade, and one of the first fun facts that I learned about you was that you play some instruments and the guitar in the classroom.
Yep.
So that is pretty cool. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, first of all, for doing this. This is more for the community and some of the people that are already living here to know more about the school, but also some people that may be thinking about moving into this community to know a little bit insight about what the school offers and what is so different about the school. So one of the questions I always get asked by a lot of the buyers is what is it that makes Entrada school a little bit unique compared to the other schools?
Well, as far as, when I moved here and started working here, one of the things that I appreciate is that the team of teachers that I work with is extremely dedicated and extremely professional.
Yeah.
And the school supports us with that. We're constantly working on different curricula, whether it's science or English language arts, going to kind of professional development, trainings, all that sort of thing. So everyone's kind of not only interested in growing as educators, but also very much supported by the administration to do that.
That's great. That's great. And when we had our first session where you introduced us to the class, there was something that you mentioned which really stuck with me, and that was about that this is not just about learning academics. There's a lot more that you get your students to probably adopt and to learn. And one of the things that you talked about was kindness. Can you just talk a little bit about that? And how do you actually instill that in kids, and how do you bring about that topic and have the kids embrace that?
So a lot of that is about kind of creating the climate where kids feel comfortable and taking the time to focus on social emotional learning. So it's not all about the academics. It's about, how do you treat other people?
Sure.
And I do a lot of role modeling that with myself, whether it's, making sure that it's okay to make mistakes and that we support each other. Like, I make mistakes. I encourage the kids to try to catch my mistakes in math. I frame those as learning opportunities. So hopefully the kids will start thinking of mistakes as being something that's an opportunity to learn rather than something to be embarrassed or worried about.
Sure.
And then also, taking the time to have, meetings in the morning where students can share what they're doing outside of school. Like, what are they excited about? We get to learn about each other's hobbies and sports and kind of, just lives. And that helps to kind of bring the class together as a community. And I'll share about myself too. So oftentimes, if we have extra time at the end of the day,
Right.
I'll just tell a story, and kind of letting the kids get to know me as a human and to get to know each other as human beings. Just kind of creates a class where kids feel comfortable. And when issues do arise, they can be resolved in a way that's a lot more kind of collaborative and positive if you have those kind of foundations set.
Sure, sure. You know, that's really interesting when you mentioned about, you know, telling stories at the end. My daughter, you know, she loves to hang out even after the school, just to kind of just hang out and talk a little bit, and that is so cool. I've never had that experience where, you know, kids are like just hanging out even after the school. I mean, the first thing you hear is they just run out of the school, right?
Right.
And this is so cool that she's interested in hanging out, maybe helping out a little bit, you know, just after her classes finish. So that is pretty special, you know, to have that bond and trust that you've created.
Yep.
And I've heard, I haven't experienced it, but I've heard from people that you actually invite the students back after they leave for a little pizza party or something like that.
Yeah, so that was kind of one of the kids' ideas, actually. We were doing fantasy writing at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And as part of that, we create these like magical worlds. And the kids think about, you know, their characters and what are going to be the rules for this fantasy world. Because, you know, we're studying like how does an author create a fantasy story that is kind of universal at the same time, and you have to have rules in your world that are consistent and make sense, even if it is about, you know, witches and dragons or whatever.
Right.
It still has rules.
Sure.
They're just different from the real worlds. So we actually don't get to write the fantasy story based on this world in class at the end of the year. And one of the students asked if, you know, can I turn this into a story? And I was like, absolutely. You know, and if you write a fantasy story over the summer based on the fantasy world you created in class, we can have a pizza party and you can come share it and buy a bunch of pizza. And so I had 3 students write, you know, 10 to 20-page fantasy stories over the summer. And they came in and ate pizza and got to read their stories.
So now this has become like a regular...
Well, it only happened once, so we'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, great. That's awesome that you know, that you get them so excited and involved in this.
Yeah, and I try to be responsive to what the kids are into. Right. So in that example, they were really into fantasy, and it's an easy way to encourage that.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about, you know, apart from academics, what are some of the initiatives that you kind of help kids to get them interested in? You know, obviously music is one that, you know, when children see that the teacher is playing a guitar or an instrument in the class, I mean, obviously it must be piquing their interest too, right? Sorry about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, it goes back to kind of sharing my own interests. So things that I get excited about, it's easy to get the kids excited about.
Right.
For me, it happens to be music and science and kind of the outdoors.
Right.
So that's kind of really what it's all based on. And I know that other teachers do this too. You kind of share your own interests and your own passions, and then some kids, you know, that might pique an interest for them and might get them excited about it too. It's just kind of being genuine about who you are, and you know, kids pick up on that. Yeah.
Right. I think a lot of the times kids learn more by observing than you telling them, right? I mean,
sure, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is pretty
a lot of modeling. Yeah.
Modeling. Well, great. Anything else that you would like to add about the school or the class that is a little bit unique? Any projects that you do? Or anything?
We have a lot of projects that we do, especially towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
We do a polyhedraville where the kids create a town out of 3D geometrical shapes.
Yeah.
As a way of, you know, working on volume and surface area and 3-dimensional geometry, which is really fun, and that ties into the whole fantasy scrapbook we talk about.
Got it.
So those are kind of like fun hands-on
Sure.
projects. And then outdoor ed is 5th grade. Most schools in California for 5th grade will go on an outdoor ed trip for 4 or 5 days. So we get to do that this year, which is pretty exciting. But yeah, it's really just comes down to, you know, the the teachers and the
Yeah.
support that we have from administration just make it a
Right.
really great school for kids and teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today.
My
And
pleasure.
thank you for doing such a great job with the kids. So it's not just Devi. I have heard from a lot of other kids that you're an amazing teacher. So keep
Well,
up the great work.
Thank you
and-
very much. My
and
pleasure.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Take care.